I'm Bill Harris, and I'm a SARVangelist. Now, a lot of people want to know what in the world is a SARVangelist. Well, acronymically speaking, it's a big capital S, capital A, capital R, SARVangelist. Webster defines an evangelist as an enthusiastic advocate. The acronym SAR, which I can't protect, but I can certainly use it, stands for subscribers, advertisers, and readers of print newspapers. I love my print newspapers. Every morning, 7 days a week, I start with the Dallas Morning News at my home. Then I go to the QT gas station and I look at the Fort Worth Star Telegram. Stuff in there I got to buy it. Then I proceed to Starbucks in Cedar Hill, where I do the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today. Stuff in there I got to buy it. Now my wife's not real happy about that. She explains that we're probably somewhere in the $3,000 or $4,000 a year range. But that's who I am. I want to know what's going on everywhere, and I want to be able to pick and choose my keepers. So I'll tear out the pages that I want. And then during the course of that day or the next day, I'll throw 80% of those away, and I'll keep the keepers, which are my treasures. And I'd like for you to think that I have a beautiful set of files on my keepers. But instead of files, I have piles. And that's what I'm working on for the rest of this year. So I'm a SARVangelist. I'm a member of the Texas Press Association. And at our midwinter meeting, I had a 6-foot banner behind me over in my booth that said SARVangelist. And being at Starbucks, which I mentioned, by the way, was how I met Vicki Wells. Just strangers. Hi, how are you? Sweet smile. She spoke back. Next thing you know, I'm finding out who she is, and she's telling me about her mama, Thelma Wells. And before long, I guess I reacted with such interest in who her mother was. And when she told me that her mother had been a follower of Zig Ziglar, I used to sit in Zig's Sunday school class at First Baptist Church. I really got excited over Thelma Wells. Next thing I know, Vicki excuses herself and says, I'll be right back. She goes home, bless her heart, and brings me Thelma's book called Bumblebees Fly Anyway. Because bumblebees are kind of like me. You look at me, you know I can't fly because of my center of gravity. And bumblebees are the same way. No reason for them to be able to fly. It's just God made them where they could fly. And that's what Thelma's book is about. It's about the fact that you can do anything. You've got to, whatever it takes to try. If you do not try it, it does not work, or it cannot work. I loved reading the book. Now, that led to something else, which really is exciting. And this is not history. This is today. And today is a famous day in history because today is the day that Baylor plays Notre Dame for the girls basketball, the NCAA championship. And I'm excited about what's going to happen tonight. I praise whoever wins it. Notre Dame's got a great team. Baylor barely beat them last time. And I'm praying for whoever does the best tonight. Of course, I'm a little bit preferential, as you can tell by the T-shirt. But that's what today is. I got Vicki's permission the other day. I read the book, and in the book, Thelma Wells talks about way back in 1964. She had a job at JR Enterprises. And they hired her because she was black and because she was a woman. And they had never hired a black woman before. And they wanted her to sort of ease into it with the employees and get them used to people of color. And she tells that story, and it's a wonderful story. I asked Vicki later, I said, Vicki, you talk about JR Enterprises, but then you say that's not the real name of the company. I asked you the name of the company. And you said the name of the company was John Deere, Deere & Company, Moline, Illinois. Now I really got excited. So, doing what I do, the way I do it, I went online and I looked up Deere & Company. And you know what? It's a couple of $1 billion company. They just announced a $544 million quarter global operation. Sam Allen is the CEO and chairman. So I clicked on the diversity. I searched the diversity. Sure enough, they're very active with their diversity program. And I said to myself, Self, that company needs to know about Thelma Wells. because she's a great motivational speaker. She's a great training speaker. And that could be exciting because I know she does a lot of churches. I know she does some corporate retreats and so forth. But there's something kind of exciting about the Fortune 500. And if they don't know about Thelma Wells, they should. And that's the sort of thing that excites me because I am excitable, but there's no limit to what I get excited over. Well, I called up. The operator asked me the purpose of my call. I said, well, I'd like to talk to Sam Allen. He's the CEO. There was a long pause, and she said, well, that means I need to screen this call. I said, please screen away. I gave her my name, my phone number, and then she asked the purpose of my call. I said, well, let me tell you a minute about Thelma Wells. And I told her about the book, quoted from the book. And pretty soon there was a long pause on the phone, and she said, I love that story. She said, oh, by the way, I happen to be African American. I certainly had no way of knowing that. And then next thing you know, she puts me on hold. She said, I'll be right back. She didn't come right back. Instead, Linda Allen came on the telephone. Pardon me. I said, Linda Allen. Linda Goodrich came on the phone, explained who she was. She was Mr. Allen's secretary or assistant. I told her the same thing I told the receptionist. She listened patiently. You never know when you're talking too much. But I proceeded to quote from the book, tell her the story. She absolutely loved the story. She knew all about Zig Ziglar. She explained that Sam Allen was out of town. I explained to her, I said, just reading from this book, that's not enough. I said, if it's okay, I'd like to ask the Wells to send you a copy of the book so you could read it. And she said, we would love to have that. She said, I get to look at it that way, and then Mr. Allen gets to look at it. So that's what we're going to do. They've just completely invested a fortune. Not a fortune. They've invested a lot of money completely redoing the museum up there at John Deere. And that's an exciting trip for a lot of families. They have, I think it's several million visitors a year. So that has all sorts of potential. That's opportunistic, and that's part of what I do. People say, Bill, what do you do? I typically say, what do you need? That gets a laugh. Doesn't necessarily pay the bills. I explain to people sometimes, I say, well, I'm Bill Harris and I'm ADB. They go, what? I said, ADB. That stands for Attention Dispersion Blessed. I've always been this way. My attention rarely ever rivets and focuses in on any one subject. I generally try to stay aware of anything and everything around me wherever I go. If you could see everything on top of this table that's in front of me, you would see the Dallas News, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Wills Point, Van Zant, Quinlan, Pewaukee News, because that was a trip I took the other day down to Terrell, Texas. I appreciate the fact that I've covered a lot of territory. I've told you about being ADB. I've told you about being a SARVangelist. And next time, I'll go into more detail on both of them so you'll know what I'm all about. I appreciate you. God bless you.